Welcome to the Business Development Podcast, brought to you by the Global Business Development Association, delivering the strategies and tactics to boost your career and corporate growth.
Andrew Z. Brown, how are you?
Good. How are you, Tony?
Good. Welcome, and welcome to all the BD pros that happen to be listening to the live stream for this BD book episode. Folks, it's a real honor to welcome Andrew to the show. And today we will talk about his new book, Get Referred. Let me put that right in the camera. Oh, okay. A little hard with the green screen background, but I see Andrew has his book prominently displayed. There we go. Yeah. Right there in his background. So nicely done, my friend. Hey, this is fantastic to be able to talk to you today. This is a quick 30-minute episode. We'll keep it fast-paced. The objective is to talk about the three tactical takeaways, the top three tactics from your book, Get Referred. Only three. It probably does it an injustice, but there are so many wonderful tactical takeaways from your book. It's probably hard just to limit it to three tactics, but we'll do our best to try and do that today. But first, I did want to tell folks a little bit about you, about your book. The full title is Get Referred, How to Increase Sales Velocity, Volume, and Value. Written by Andrew Z. Brown, the father of business-to-business referral programs. And as stated in the Amazon listing, it's reader-friendly how-to guide. I think it's probably the most well-organized, reader-friendly book in business-to-business books I've read in a long time. Unfortunately, with the green screen background, it'll be a little bit difficult to show folks how the book is structured, but there are colorful page indicators so that you can quickly find the tactical sections of the books that you could quickly read the chapter summary. Always love those chapter summaries in B2B books so you can get right to the meat of the matter. And a lot of great anecdotal evidence, a lot of great scientific evidence to back up a lot of your positioning, excellent graphics, and 5-star review from me on Amazon. Happy to give that to you, Andrew. And it's 30 plus years of Andrew's background in technology companies, financial institution, professional services firms, and marketing agencies, all crammed into this great book that's perfect for busy executives, perfect for folks that are new to business development, and it's a mandatory read, I think, for anybody that's a business developer and you want to exponentially grow your business through very powerful referrals. So highly recommended book. Andrew, would love to hear why you wrote the book.
Well, first, Tony, thank you very much for those very kind words. As always, it's a thrill to chat with you, and I'm very pleased that you found that this is a worthwhile read. So again, thank you for your insights. Thank you for your endorsement. Let me tell you why I wrote the book. So throughout the 1990s, I was working for large financial and professional services companies, helping them develop and roll out B2B sales and marketing strategies to identify and build new sales. And it was really during that time that I really became obsessed with tools and methods for lead generation. And by the early 2000s, organizations across industries started leveraging digital tools to build sales. And at that time, there were roughly 150 such tools. So I worked with dozens of tools meant to optimize every stage of the business development, sales, and marketing cycles, particularly generating and qualifying leads. And I consistently found that new, good, quality leads were coming in via trusted referral sources, and that was happening independent of sales and marketing initiatives. So while organizations were building infrastructures and budget to deploy digital tools and massive amounts of content, when it came to selling big ticket items, B2B, these tools weren't really moving the needle. But I also found the way organizations leveraged referral sources had some real negative consequences. So referral sources were being overused, they were being neglected and disrespected. And not a surprise, as a result, business lost existing customers, experienced reputational damage when referral sources weren't representing a business well. They alienated referral sources and lost what would have been very substantial business opportunities. Now, over the last 20 plus years, the number of the tools, the sales and marketing tools have exploded. There are over 14,000 digital sales and marketing tools right now. And that rapid growth has meant an entire generation of BD, sales, and marketing professionals automatically rely heavily on technology tools to find and secure business. But at the same time, these tools have sort of made more efficient referral source being overused, neglected, and disrespected, and reinforced this emphasis on tools as the only way to develop meaningful B2B referrals. And secondly, these tools haven't really moved the needle on harnessing big ticket B2B referrals in a systematic and reliable way. So that's why it was so important to me to take 30 plus years of experience and make it practical and actionable so that sales, BD, and marketing professionals who are on the hook for growing B2B revenues can tap into the unique power that is referrals.
Well, that's a very compelling reason to write the book. So it sounds like in the 2000s that with the exponential growth and technology tools that kind of cheapened referrals, reduced the value of referrals that were both inbound and then trying to be leveraged by companies. But obviously referrals have been around for a long time. Word of mouth referrals, the most powerful BD tactic you could use. The conversion rates are over 50% on referrals, certainly in the B2B space. And I'm curious, were you seeing this in the B2B space and the B2C, the consumer space? Referrals, you see them all the time, these referral mechanisms that airlines will use, cell phone companies will use. Were you seeing it just in those that portion of the mainly the consumer market? Were you seeing also in the B2B space, in the business to business space?
So the greatest amount of neglect and abuse was happening in the B2B space. The B2C space, there is inherently lower risk for someone to refer a product, a service, an offering to someone within their network. There's less putting themselves on the line to make that kind of referral. But when the stakes are high, there's greater risk. When an organization has to plunk down $250,000 for a brand new software that will have implications for the business, all of a sudden the import of that referral source goes through the roof. And the way that companies use that referral source, therefore, has to be far more systematic, far more nuanced than if it's a B2C, so that you can buy a set of mugs, right?
Yeah, that's great clarification. And I like how you focus on systems, because really that's what your book is about. Your book is about implementing a comprehensive, high-value referral management system. And I think there isn't a lot of information out there in the community, in the business development community. Folks know that referrals are very powerful, but oftentimes I don't see companies implement a referral management system to have visibility, to effectively manage and implement referrals. So why don't we jump into the top 3 tactical takeaways that you have from your book? Obviously, we don't want to spill all the good parts of the book, but and I know it's going to be tough just limiting it to 3. But if we could start with number 3 and work our way backward. But
sure.
Before we do that, for folks on the live stream, we do have a giveaway opportunity. We'll have Andrew generously offered to give away his book, a copy of his book. So that'll be a wonderful giveaway. And then we also have a giveaway for a free BDP certification, a business development professional certification. So folks on the live chat, if you're interested in that very generous offer from Andrew, go ahead and type in the letters BDP, business development professional, BDP. So that's Bravo Delta Papa in the comments section, in the chat section. If you're on LinkedIn, that should work as well. And if we have any interest for that, then we'll do a giveaway. But Andrew, no further ado, let's hit number 3, tactic number 3.
Okay, and each of these tactics are a little meaty, but they're also very practical and doable. And these are things that people can start today. So that's pretty important, right? BD folks, sales folks, marketing folks are busy. So we want to be able to give something that's practical. So tactic 1, verify the importance, i.e. the value of referrals and therefore referral sources to your business's top line, and identify your organization's current approach to managing referrals. Let me say, why is this critical? Well, unless there is quantifiable recognition that referred business is important, there will be little appetite for a managed referral program in your organization. And understanding your organization's current approach to managing referral sources lets you know sort of the limitations and the barriers you're going to have to tackle and set into motion to get a systematic approach for managing referral sources. And so let's take the first part. So to verify the importance of referrals, I'd say do 3 things. Ask yourself, your supervisor, your colleagues, people perhaps that were before you. You may lead a team, but get this information. Did one or more referral sources play a role in securing the organization's largest, most prestigious, and or most profitable contract or account? So that's one thing to find. And again, we're talking B2B, typically large receipt or big ticket offerings or services. Number 2, review. There's a lot of quantifiable research, whether it's in my book or out there, on how the impact of referral sources on sales velocity, on sales volume, on sales value, and see if it resonates with you and your team. So, for example, 69% of B2B companies found that deals move through sales funnel faster when they leverage the right referral source. So that's about velocity. What about value? 59% of customers coming by referral source have a measurably higher lifetime value than customers that originate without a referral. And finally, 71% of leads coming via referral source are more likely to close than leads without a referral. So again, ask your supervisor those questions, review the quantifiable research, and then speak with your sales operations function to get a handle on the volume of referred business within the last 12 to 24 months, the value of referred business within that same period, and actually the dollar value in your current pipeline that requires endorsement of referral sources somewhere in the purchase process. So that's just to help you get a handle on the actual value, the importance of referral sources within your company. Now let's talk briefly about your organization's current approach. So, and I go into depth with this, but not too much depth in the book. I'll just touch on 2. There are sort of 5 big bucket approaches, and I'll just touch upon 2. So the most common. Yeah,
Andrew,
go ahead.
I hate to interrupt you here, but so we're still talking about tactic number 3. I mean, this is one of 3 here.
Yeah, it's one of 3. It's one of 3.
So let me pause and make sure I'm following you here clearly.
Sure.
At the end of the day, what you want to do is look at the historicals of your referral sources.
Yes.
Identify those highest value referral sources, conversion rate, I guess, on those referrals, if you will, and have that historical framework and understanding that you can share with leadership so that you can develop the support within leadership to be able to implement a referral management system. Am I tracking you properly on that?
Yeah, Pretty much. I mean, it comes down to value, right? Organizations often don't move quickly, but what does get organizations to move is when there is that sense of perceived value. So understanding the amount, the kind of business that's actually coming in via referrals helps to open the curtain and get people to scratch their head and say, wow, yeah, this is important stuff, or it's the kind of business that we want, the volume of business that we want, the kind of business that comes through the sales funnel a lot faster. Once that light goes on, then there's the opportunity to say, okay, if that's what we want, we have to do things in a systematic way to really harness that, to optimize that.
Great. So really, tactic number 3 of your top 3 is, focused on the analytics first.
Yes.
Really get a strong historical understanding of the performance level of the referrals you've had. And I guess that may be a little difficult too if folks don't have a mechanism for tracking, if they're not putting those leads in CRM and whatnot, that could be a little bit difficult.
It does cause some organizations to struggle. I mean, often when we speak to our clients, one of the first questions is, we ask 2 questions. And one is, are referrals important to you? And most people will say yes. At the big ticket B2B offering, referrals are critical. So how much business did you get in the last year from referrals? And there's a glazing of the eyes. People go,
Right.
we don't know, which is counter to a systematic, high-performing business development and sales operation that wants to squeeze the most out of every opportunity.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, if you hear cricket chirps, you know you have a problem. Referrals are important. Great. How are you tracking them? Well, we really don't know. We don't track them, but if they do, then that's tactic number 3. Identify the performance of the referrals you have received. So great tactic number 3. Let's move on to number 2.
Okay, so again, I'm consolidating a lot, but one of the other things that we want to do is prioritize your referral sources. Why? Why is this important? Because not all referral sources are created equally, right? And the sooner you, your team, your organization realize this, the more willingness there will be to creating a program that builds on referral sources' actual strengths and weaknesses. So here's what you need to do. And this is something, again, once you sign off from this LinkedIn session, you can do it right now or start. Create a referral champion grid that helps you plot out visually the actual contributions referral sources make to the successful achievement of your BD and sales targets. So just create a simple 4-quadrant grid with referral revenues brought to you on the y-axis, and on the x-axis, frequency of referrals brought to you. And in the process, you create a grid where on the left side, it's going to be low revenue, low frequency. Above that, you have high revenue, low frequency. On the right side, you have low revenue, high frequency. And above it, the magic quadrant, right? High revenue, high frequency. Now, once you've done that, I've got to say, there aren't any hard and fast rules in that. So what you define as high or low frequency and high and low revenues needs to be seen as relevant within your organization. But the outcome of doing this is that you identify referral sources, and what that could be individuals or teams or organizations that are currently more important to you than others. And that gives you the opportunity to, among other things, delve into why some of these referral sources are more important to you than others. And this leads to our third and final tactic, which we'll get to in a second. The first tactic that we mentioned was around digging into the data, around the value that referral sources bring. The second tactic is about actually focusing on the referral sources themselves and the value they bring.
Love that, Andrew. I think it's fantastic because what you just said speaks to the ultimate mission of business development. business development is customer and community advocacy that creates corporate growth. And oftentimes so many folks think, oh, well, business development, that's sales. No, that's not. Business developers start from the time you have an IQL sourced from marketing, when the prospect attention is captured by an advertisement, and you engage with that individual as a business developer. The business developer's relationship does not end at handoff to sales. It does not end at a contract award or the sale of the product. Business development is participating throughout the customer lifecycle. And what you just said about, hey, step one, identify the performance of your existing referrals. Step two, and the value you're receiving from those referrals. Step two, okay, now find those referral sources that have generated the most revenue for you. Who are those high value champions for you? Your advocates. Again, I said business development is customer and community advocacy. Well, that's a double entendre. It's not only do we, right? It's not only do we advocate for the customer, but ultimately the exponential part of all this, the corporate growth part of this, is the word of mouth for customers who in turn advocate for us and give us the referrals. That's when you have a hockey stick growth pattern. If you listen to Mark Andreessen, famed venture capitalist, he defines product market fit as the point where you go from that slope, that linear slope of sales to exponential growth from business development through word of mouth from your customers. As soon as you have that word of mouth, that's when it takes off like a rocket ship. And so I think tactic number two is, okay, let's find those champions. What are the characteristics of those champions that are generating the most high value referrals for us, highest conversion rate, highest ticket in sales volume? This is fantastic. So step one, you've identified, first of all, do you have any kind of methodology to track the referrals? And where are those referrals coming from? Step two now is you're really getting your hands around where are these referrals coming from, and where are the highest value referrals coming from? And you're starting to, just like you do anytime when you're doing prospecting, you're prioritizing your leads. You're establishing, is this a high priority lead for me? What's the probability of win? And you're doing that, prospecting math, if you will, to identify that overall lead score, where you can determine how you want to prioritize your time and resources. So, and that then what you're saying is that doesn't stop at the sale of the product. It continues onward. You end up having a lead score, a referral source score, if you will, for these folks. So let's jump right into tactic number 3 here.
Okay.
With 6 minutes left on the clock.
Okay. So, and this is a biggie. So once you've confirmed that there's value for referred business to your organization, then you've identified which referral sources are firing on all engines. We want to be systematic about really harnessing. So tactic 3, identify your existing or potential referral sources for 3 things. 3, the skills to refer, the willingness to refer, and the opportunities to refer. This is basic referral math. Every referral source that brings you consistent, profitable business has all these qualities. Otherwise, they don't bring you the business you want, they bring you the business you don't want, or they may become disengaged from you, your product, and your organization. And a managed referral program. Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
Let me just stop you right there, because sure. I think you touched on 3 key items there, and I just want to make sure folks hear that again. Can you repeat those 3 key attributes again?
Sure. Referral math. The skills to refer plus the willingness to refer plus the opportunities to refer equals the referrals that you want.
Okay, so does your referral source have the skill? Do they have the willingness? And do they just have capacity to source a lot of referrals for you, basically? Can they contribute to volume?
Correct.
Great.
Yeah, perfect. A managed referral program is actually built on identifying and filling in the gaps to make your referral sources what I called wildly successful, and giving you the chance to take actionable steps rather than relying on sort of the hope for referrals approach or the one size fits all approach, which is, to be fair, the channel approach. So here goes. Here goes to build a high performing, i.e. a managed referral program. You must throw out some long held myths about effective referral sources. And there are three, specifically about who refers, why they refer, and when they refer. I'm going to take each one of them quickly. So who refers consistently and brings you great business? And the myth is that your current customers will. In reality, professional colleagues, former clients, former employees, suppliers, prospective clients refer more frequently and better business than existing customers. And you may say, whoa, why does that happen? Well, there are lots of reasons too that are prominent. The babysitter effect. So if you've ever had a babysitter, you know how protective you are of a babysitter, because you certainly don't want to go a Saturday night when you need to get out and that babysitter is with a friend. No, you protect that babysitter. So if you're awesome, your clients are not necessarily going to refer you because they don't want your attention to go to someone else. Second, the other reason is they know your warts, all the good and the bad. So that's why they don't refer. And so who refers? Again, dispel the myth. The myth about current customers, don't throw a lot of action, activities, resource around that. When people refer, the myth, when people know your products and services. But the reality is when they feel confident there's a fit between you and the organization that they're bringing you to. So it's got to be cultural and product. And finally, why? This is the big one, right? We see a lot of conversations on LinkedIn and chats about what's the right reward, what's the right incentive to encourage referrals. And the myth is it's all about money. But the reality is there's a cluster of motivations. It's rarely one simple thing. And motivations evolve over time. So with this in hand, three things to do. Spend time with your existing or potential referral sources and probe them for their skills and their willingness and opportunity to refer. And there's a question guide in Get Referred. 2, schedule a time at least once a quarter to update this, because people's lives change. If they move geographies, if they change positions, their motivations, their skills, their opportunities are going to evolve, and you got to keep on top of this. And 3, just as you would with new opportunities, start to think about referral sources as the key to your revenue. In fact, one of our clients at Bridgemaker Referral Programs recently said to us, we need to think of referral sources as our most important client.
Yeah, I love that. And we have 1 minute on the clock to finish up. Perfect timing, Andrew. I love that. Final tactic number 1, most important, is the way you deal with partners. I always tell people there are 3 key attributes of a great partner. Proficiency. Do they have the skill? Mm-hmm. Patronage. Can they actually bring clients to you? And perspiration, are they actually going to work at it? And Fair. Then I also like how you then say, a lot of people think, oh, it's your clients that love you and they know you and they're going to give you a bunch of referrals. But what you're saying, that's actually not the case all the time. There has to be a trust alignment, right? You have to be aligned on purpose, empathy, and truth. Basically, to use different words from yours, but fundamentally, that referral source has to know that this is going to be a good fit. They're putting their trust on the table.
They're putting their reputation on the line.
Yeah, their reputation's on the line. So there has to be a solid fit there. Otherwise, they're going to be hesitant to do it. And so that's a very powerful takeaway. So with less than 1 minute on the clock, Andrew, we're going to go to the fun giveaway part. Okay. We have this is odds of winning are 100% for the one person. I put my name in the chat log, but what we're going to do is let me test this out. I'm going to share my screen here. You're going to see we're going to test out this feature, and just give me 1 second here.
Tony, can I just jump in and say one thing that I think is really important? And thank you very much for the opportunity. I know that there'll be further conversations, but the thing to remember is BD and sales folks do have the power to make a huge impact. They can indeed achieve the revenue targets they want by tapping into referral sources. So they have agency. They have the ability. What's been holding them back? A bunch of faulty assumptions, perhaps an organization that hasn't articulated the value. But you know what? Hope is not a strategy. The good news is you can take control.
It's not a strategy. But if you're hoping for a free book from Andrew, here we go. Andrew, can you see the screen? I'm just wondering here. It should say BDP.
I see, but it's very, very small on my screen because I've got a small screen.
Okay, all right. I'm going to hit the draw button. I put my name on the list too, so by default, if it happens to be my name, it will go to the.
It's Udit. I know Udit.
You know Udit? Okay.
I know Udit.
It selected me. Udit, by default, you actually win Andrew's book, and in the interest of time, congratulations. You also get a free access to the BDP certification, which will also get you access to the digital copy of the business development body of knowledge. So Udit, please connect with me or Andrew, since you know each other, via DM on LinkedIn, so we can get you connected with both of those resources. And thank you for participating today. So Andrew, thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you so much for being a guest. Referrals are incredible, powerful sources. And with those top 3 tactics, I think folks can get a running start on exponentially increasing their revenue in 2025. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Tony, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Business Development Podcast. Join our free community of corporate partners and business development professionals advancing the art, science, and ethics of the business development profession at gbdassociation.org.